Hello and welcome everyone. So today we have a slightly different kind of project. We have this Clockwork Pi, and this is uConsole from Clockwork Pi. And this is an amazing little hardware. It is like a dev terminal that you have a full-fledged keyboard, a 720 pixel screen over here, and you have a scroll mouse that works just amazingly. And I absolutely love using this small Linux device. It has always had a Raspberry Pi CM4 in here. And today we received something from Amazon, which is a Raspberry Pi CM5. And this is a 8 gigabyte version RAM of Raspberry Pi CM5. And the sole purpose of its existence is to go inside our uConsole. So this is it. So it also came with some other things. There is an antenna over here and some other things that we do not need. It also comes with this heatsink, and we'll see if that even makes sense to put this heatsink on it, because I believe once we install it in our uConsole, there will probably not be enough space in here. So what does this uConsole do? This uConsole is like your Linux machine. There is a scroll mouse over here, a full-on Debian Linux that is running right now. And the only problem with this is it is efficient, yes, but it is also a little slow for 2025. So if I open YouTube, it works. I can open YouTube and I'll show you the load times over here. It is still loading. Okay, all right. So we also have installed Wi-Fi antenna. So I just turned it up over here, but it's still loading. So now it finished loading, and we can just try to play a random video over here. So there is one recommended video on uConsole. I'll just click it for a second and see how how long it takes to load. And you can see that it is loading, but it took a little while. And you can see that it is, even though it is responsive, it is still a little less responsive than what I want it to be. So in order to fix all this, what we are going to do today is to put in this Raspberry Pi Compute Module 5 in this. And theoretically, I mean, the speed difference is about 3 times. And the power consumption difference is twice more in CM5 in full load, but a little less while it is idling, right? So, and that's okay. I have a decent enough battery in here, and it does last long enough for me for it to idle about at the same rate. So what I'm going to do right now is shut down this particular unit. And to shut down, it's a simple Linux machine. So all I'm doing is going to the regular menus of Raspberry Pi, clicking on logout, and then on shutdown. The system is shutting down now. And then I have to just take the system apart and put CM5 in there. So before we do that, actually, let's take a quick look at CM5, this compute module 5 that has been sent to us. Okay. Whoa, that looks awesome. So if you can see that, this is the CM5, the compute module 5 that came with the box today in the Amazon package. And it is supposed to be 8 gigabytes in size. Does it say anywhere? I can't see it say 8 gigabytes, but we'll find out. So you can see how there are notches in the back. All we'll do is take the CM4 out, and it should be just simple plug and play in terms of hardware. And then we'll have to, of course, install the right software over here for it to work. So we'll go ahead and install Debian Linux. And yes, all this has been made possible because of the amazing work of this guy, Rex, who is on these uConsole channels. And once I'm done with the hardware part, I'll show where you can obtain the software image for it. But let's first figure out what's the right screw size over here. So So this may take a few seconds for me unless I can guess it. And I got lucky. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and let's take this apart. All right. Okay, come out. There we go. And then these are 4 more screws that we have to remove over here, which we'll do now. All right, and then there is this different kind of screw that we'll need this one for. Let's see if it fits. Yep, it does. And actually, I can just use my finger to unscrew this. Okay, perfect. Keeping this aside, making sure we don't break the antenna over here. And we can get the metal plate out on the side over here. All right, so let's just take a look. The very first thing we can do is we will need to, let me adjust the mic over here. So we will need to get the antenna part out. So the Wi-Fi antenna is out. And before we mess around with this, we want to get the batteries out. So I actually should have taken the batteries out as the very first thing, but that's all right. We'll do it now. The first battery is out, and you can see this is 3300 milliamp hour on this one. And the second one is out too. So we'll just remember that negative side is on this side as it says on the battery, and the positive side is over here, and we'll put it back exactly in that same way. Okay, in order to get the compute module out, it's actually pretty simple and straightforward. All you have to do is to just um, either take this system out, and let's do that. I want to show you how this is plugged in. So just like a RAM in your laptop, you can easily just take these two sides out, right? So take this out and you can take this module out. So it is just sitting over here. So if you guys have a NVIDIA Jetson Orin Nano developer kit, you must have seen the similar kind of thing done over there too, where you can take this module all out and you can plug your another module in. So now what we have to do is just kind of wiggle this out. There are no screws over here. So you just have to use a little bit of force and just take this out, right? So this is out now. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to keep it on the side over here. And in order to put it in, this Raspberry Pi 5 CM module CM5 just goes back in here and it just sits on top over here. Now, one thing that you guys will notice is that there was no thermal pad on it. There was nothing on this CM4. Why is that? Now, that's a very good question for the person who sold this to me. So, no, I'm not the original owner of this chip. And the person who sold it to me just sold it to me like that. And today is the first time that I'm opening this thing. And I also actually received this box that this thing came in. And in the box, I noticed that there is a thermal pad over here. And I was already under the impression that this guy at some time actually opened it and took the thermal pad out. So what we are going to do is we are going to put the thermal pad back on and we are going to have this transmit the heat back to our metal plate over here using the thermal pad. Now, another option for us is to go ahead and use the metal heat dissipation thing that came with this. The only reason I don't want to do this is because I don't know if once the heat is dissipated through this, it's going to be enclosed inside the container over here. And we actually want the heat to dissipate out of this. And only way for us to make it do that is by actually having this thermal pad contact this metal plate over here. So once it goes on top and it touches the metal plate, this metal plate is what is going to do the heat dissipation. So we're going to put this thing over here, and I don't have this thick of a thermal pad. And I'm glad that the dude who gave me this compute module, sorry, the uConsole, at least had this thermal pad in the box that he gave me. So this is what we're going to do. We will install this back in over here. So just like a RAM module, we'll just put it back in, push it down, and it should snap back in place like it did right now over here. Okay, perfect. So now our Raspberry Pi Compute Module 5 is in. And even though I'm confident it is in, it just feels a little flimsy over here just because I had never opened it in past. It just feels a little flimsy, but I think that's okay. That's all right. We'll just put back the Wi-Fi antenna in place. So let's just plug this thing back in. We want to make sure that this is correctly, yep, it snapped back in, which is good. And we'll leave this thermal pad the way it is over here. We'll put the batteries back in. So negative goes on the negative. So the first one is in, and the negative goes on the negative side. So the second one is in. Okay. And we don't want to mess with anything else over here. Everything else stays exactly the same way as it is. And we will put the metal plate back on. And it should have some resistance over here, which is what we want, right? Because this resistance on the top is what makes sure that the thermal pad is actually touching the metal plate over here. And I can feel this resistance. So I'm good with this. So I'll go ahead and I'll put some screws back on over here, and then we will do a test. And I do not have the correct OS flashed yet on the SD card, so we may not see the thing boot, but we'll at least attempt to boot it a little bit before we go on installing all the different screws over here. So at least this much should be good. Or while we are here, let's go ahead and install the fourth screw too. Let's go over here, install the fourth screw over here. And what we won't install is this metal thing on the side, and that will be installed at the very end. All right, let's just do that and get done. Okay, perfect. Okay, moment of truth. Let's find out whether this worked or not. So I'm gonna press the power button over here now. So it is powering up, and at least I wanna see something on the screen for us. So let's just wait. I'm gonna give it a few minutes, and hopefully it should turn on. So normally by now you can see something, some power or something coming, like power on the display coming out of it. But I won't panic yet. Maybe because we still have the old SD card in there, and that is one of the reasons why we do not see anything specifically outputted on the screen. What else I'll do is I'm also going to try to see if we can use an HDMI connector over here. Okay, so I have an idea. So what I want to do is take a mini HDMI. So this also has a mini HDMI out port. So I'm going to take a mini HDMI out and I'm going to, oh no, never mind. Never mind. Okay, all right. It actually booted up. And wow, wow. I did not even have to reflash the image. It straight up booted into the operating system over here. It did not even need the new image. Now that is amazing. Let me just make sure if I plugged in the correct. Yes, I did. So I did plug in the Raspberry Pi module 5 because this is the CM4 over here and it has booted in. I'm definitely not going to leave it like this. I will, of course, re-flash it with the Debian image and try to, not leave it hanging with the old image over here. But this is really promising to see that it just booted up straight away in Debian over here. And I know the screen looks like it is dirty with all the fingerprints and stuff, but it doesn't look that bad when I'm directly looking at it. So that's also something interesting over here. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead, open the browser, and let's see the load times that we are seeing over here. Wow, that kind of opened very fast. Let me click on restore so that we have all the past pages open. So that's good. And let's go ahead and try to play one of my old videos over here. So let's see. I'm gonna click on my channel and I'm gonna click on one of the videos over here. And 3, 2, 1, and click. Oh wow, that actually was pretty fast. That was very fast. CM5 is definitely powerful. Definitely powerful. Okay, let me go ahead and maximize this. And yeah, it is. It is actually working very, very, very smoothly. I mean, I'm pretty sure it is consuming a ton of power too. But let me switch the video output to 1080p for this video over here. And yep, it just switched right away. It switched right away. And I can feel, so when I'm touching the back of it, I can feel how hot it is getting. It is definitely warmer than the other CM4 module when it was in there. And also because when the CM4 module was there was no thermal pad touching this. So of course, but this is seamless. I was already using Rex's image for Debian and it just seamlessly transitioned over. I literally had to do nothing over here, which is awesome. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and enjoy this new dev console. And for those of you who were interested in knowing whether the image works out of the box or if you have to do any modifications to it, now you have the answer. If you're using Rex's image for Debian, before, you can continue to use it after, and it works out of the box. I'll leave the links to all the software that I've used over here in the description section. And that will be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.